Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first live town hall of the year here for the 2021-2022 school year at the Victor Valley Union High School District. My name is Chris Riley. I'm the Public Engagement Information Manager. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening, and it's a pleasure to be welcoming back our students on Monday, August 9th. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by introducing our panel this evening. Let's start with our superintendent, Dr. Ron Williams. And then
good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and looking forward to this exciting year.
And let's also introduce our Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Dr. Antoine Hawkins.
Good evening. I'm excited to welcome students back to the school year, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hawkins. And our Educational Services Assistant Superintendent, and that is Dr. Ramoni Yee.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So happy to be here, and we are looking forward to having a fantastic year, and again, welcoming our kids back on Monday.
And we promise you this man is not driving and talking to us right now. The reason he is in his car is because he has an event for National Night Out, which he participates in every year. That's our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Dr. Ramiro Rubalcaba. How are you doing, Dr. R?
Great, and thank you so much for having us here. We're super excited about another fantastic year. We want to welcome back all of our students, families, and staff, and we're happy to answer all of your questions so that you know everyone will be safe.
And as always, we are happy to be joined by our employee associations. That's the Csca, the California School Employees Association, as well as the VVTA, the Victor Valley Teachers Association. So I'm going to start with our Csca chapter president. That's Tanya Martin. Hi, Tanya. How you doing? Oh, it looks like you're muted still.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here, excited to support the kids coming back. I support all the way from your IT department to the food service to the custodial staff. So I am the president for a variety of support staff that work in the Victor Valley Union High School District.
And last but not least, our Victor Valley Teachers Association president, Anita Tucker. How you doing, Anita?
Good afternoon. I'm good. Thank you. We are so excited on behalf of all of our teachers, counselors, and certificated staff to welcome our kids back into the classroom for a safe and great year.
Thank you very much. So thanks to all of our panelists for joining us, and thanks to all of our viewers for joining us this evening. And we know you have a lot of questions. And before we get into that, we're just going to start with a general overview of what's going on. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Ron Williams.
Hey, thank you so very much, Chris. Sincerely appreciate it. I just want to answer some of the questions that you may have that I think everyone needs to know. Number one, masks are required indoors and on buses for all students and staff wherever students are present. Masks are optional indoors for vaccinated staff members when students are not present. And masks are optional outdoors for all students and staff. Symptom screening is not required. COVID-19 vaccine is not required as well. Mask exemptions are available only for a documented medical reason submitted to VVUHSD. And those who choose not to wear a mask must enroll in a Goodwill Independent Study or Victor Valley Academy. And we're looking forward to this being a great year, and we're excited that you're all here. And so I know that there's been some questions that's been asked. Chris, do you want to read those questions, or do you want me to?
Yeah, sure. I can go ahead and read some of those questions. Let's go ahead and start with some of the questions that we already got via email. And I'm going to go ahead and put up here at the bottom of the screen as well that email address. And I will do my best to keep my eye on that during this stream. And then we also have the questions that are coming in the live chat. And by the way, I'd like to thank Mr. Richard Gonzalez for joining us, putting in a little extra work this evening, and helping us moderate those comments. So thank you very much, Richard. So let's go ahead and start out with a couple of our email questions here. This one is a two-parter. It says, how do you expect the children to be safe attending full-time school when COVID cases are going up since things began to open up? Is a hybrid option a better idea, or should all students get vaccinated?
Okay. Dr. Rubacaba, you would like to take a stab at that one? Go ahead.
Sure. So there are mitigation strategies. The CDC and CDPH both have published that with mitigation strategies such as face covering, we believe that the benefits of attending school far outweigh the risks. So we believe we can keep everyone safe. We do have other measures in place. Testing is available. It's not mandatory, but it is available at this time. We have contact tracing protocols, desk shields, teacher desk shields, and a variety of sanitizing equipment to help keep our students safe. At this time, the directive from the state is that we return to in-person instruction. Now, for those students who feel uncomfortable wearing a face covering or feel uncomfortable attending schools, for whatever reason, we're very proud to share that our district, the Victor Valley Union High School District, has two options: independent studies through Goodwill and the Victor Valley Virtual Academy. So any families that are interested, you have those two options.
Okay, thank you very much. And another part to that question was, do you suspect that going back to school will affect COVID cases? Well, that's anybody's guess. And I don't know that we can really speak to that being educators. I think we just know that we have directives from the state and from public health that we are carrying out. Would you agree with that, Dr. Rubacaba?
Yes, that's accurate, Chris. We don't have a crystal ball to know how this variant, this new Delta variant, or any other variant that may, enter our community will behave. Some researchers and medical practitioners actually think that we're going to peak very soon in regards to positivity cases, and then we're going to experience a drop again. And that's the way these infectious diseases act. As more people become vaccinated, as we hopefully reach herd immunity, we hope that this will go away, or at least it'll be more manageable.
And also, there was a comment or a question that we had received earlier asking, are cases going up in the county? There is one thing I wanted to go ahead and share with some of our viewers, is that if you go and look at our, I'm going to click on this tab here. If you go ahead and look at our COVID-19 page on our website, we actually have this data in real time here. So yes, the cases are going up, but we do want to put this in perspective. So this is January 2021, what we call the second surge, right? And you can see that the cases were at over 5,000 at this time. Now, this is us right now with the new cases being under 400. So we're less than 1/10 of where we were at this time. So yes, we're on the rise, but we do want to keep this in perspective of where we are now versus where we were just 7 months ago. And while we're here, yes, this COVID-19 page is a good resource for you in terms of the latest news from the district, as well as those dashboards that you can check out if you need that information. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. Hello, my name is Cleopatra Carlos, and I have 3 children attending Sims. My question is, will there be an option to have my child attend online classes through Sims? Or is the only other option to attend the online academy, and she means Victor Valley Virtual Academy, which is a completely different school? She says that she had lost her mother to COVID-19. I'm very sorry to hear that, Cleopatra. And she said that she has 2 high-risk people here at home. She doesn't feel comfortable sending her child to in-person instruction given the current situation. She would like to have her child continue to attend Sims, but wants to know if there's an online option. So I'll go ahead and hand that over to you, Dr. Williams, and maybe there's someone else in the cabinet you'd like to hand that.
Thank you so very much. With Sims does not have a virtual program at this particular point in time, but we do have a virtual academy that is available that she's more than welcome to attend. I'm looking at the question as well. It says, is there only other options to attend online academy, which is completely different school? So The Victor Valley Virtual Academy would be the academy that she would be eligible to attend if she chooses not to attend SIMS. But I think that, as you mentioned earlier there, Chris, I think it's very good to look at the positivity rate as well as the infection rate at this particular point in time. And we're about 10% as compared to where we used to be. And so I would, that would be my answer. Dr. Rubacaba, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, Dr. Will, I think you covered it very well. None of our schools have their own virtual or hybrid model. At this time, the only option for students who do not want to attend in person would be through Goodwill Independent Studies and the Victor Valley Virtual Academy at this time. But I think everybody should know that as things change, and this is a very fluid situation, we will adapt with those changes and share the information as it becomes available.
Okay, so we have another question. This is a simple one. Why are students not being required to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19?
Well, I'll pass that one over to Dr. Rubacaba.
Sure. So the short answer is it's not required by law. At this moment in time, it is an absolute individual choice for students, parents, if they're under 18, and for anyone over 18, it's an individual choice for both students and staff who are over 18. So it's not required by law like some of our other immunizations, but once again, it's subject to change. That may change, and Department of Public Health or the state legislature may decide that, hey, we're going to add this to the list of vaccinations that are required. But at this moment in time, it is an individual choice. And I want to clarify, nobody will be denied access to an education or to be able to come to work regardless of their vaccination status.
Okay, the last of the email questions. So this person says, what if someone in the household tests positive or is exposed? Our kids stay home to quarantine for 14 days. How did the children not fall behind? The virtual school says they cannot switch mid-semester and need to be enrolled for an entire semester. 14 days of no learning would put kids behind. What is the plan for this situation to obtain and return homework to be graded if kids are quarantined?
Well, I'll pass that one over to Dr. Rubacaba as well.
Sure. That's a really good question. So the first thing, let's clarify, if someone is vaccinated, and most of our students are 12 and up, right? So most of our students are eligible for the vaccination, for the Pfizer vaccination. Now, if they are vaccinated and have no symptoms, there is no requirement to quarantine. And I want to say that again. Any student 12 and over who is vaccinated, even if they're exposed, as long as they are asymptomatic, they do not have to quarantine. Now, for a student who is unvaccinated and exposed, and I want to clarify, an exposure means within 6 feet of someone for 15 minutes or greater of someone who tests positive for COVID. So for those students who are unvaccinated and are exposed, the quarantine is actually 10 days. But there's a very new change in the guidelines from the Department of Public Health for K-12 schools, and that is the modified quarantine. And what the modified quarantine means, and it applies only for students, the modified quarantine means that if a student is exposed, as long as they were face covering and they are asymptomatic, they can continue to attend classes and participate in classes, but they have to test twice a week until the quarantine timeline of 10 days is over. And they cannot participate in extracurricular activities such as sports or music or anything like that until the quarantine is over. Finally, I just want to state, and maybe Dr. Yee can elaborate, that students are given the option to make up work if they do miss because of illness or what have you. So we do want to support our students. We know that our teachers are going to show empathy, and we know that we're going to do everything within our power to keep everyone safe and succeed this academic year.
And Dr. Yee, would you like to add anything to that?
Just exactly what Dr. R was mentioning, that we would treat it the same as if a child has been sick. Students will have the opportunity to make up their work. We do not want their illness to be a part of, their grades decreasing or anything. And just our teachers, our administrators, we are here to support your children. And hopefully they're not going to get sick, but if they are, we will definitely give an opportunity to make up their work.
Okay, thank you so much. So that is the last of our email questions. And I know Mr. Gonzalez has been taking a look at the questions in the chat here. So Richard, I don't know if there was any you wanted us to address first. If cases rise at school, will the district take precaution and shut down again?
I'll address that part of it. Yes, we will. We are definitely concerned about our, our certificated staff as well as our classified staff, and we will, if public health comes out and let us know that, we will be more than happy to do that.
Okay, and that was Stay Real. Now we have Ms. Lizzie, I suppose. Victor Valley Virtual Academy doesn't help kids with IEP. What other options do we have?
Well, in addition to the virtual academy, we have our independent study program going on at our respective schools. We will try everything that we possibly can to accommodate our students with our special needs. And so I would say to that parent, and I saw it just a few seconds ago, that if that's what they would like, we're here to accommodate them. Just let us know and we will work with them.
Okay, Stacy Thomas, if a student was to choose virtual learning, will they lose their spot at the current school that they attend when the pandemic is over? And I believe that, yes, this person has a child at Sims, and that's why they are concerned about losing the spot. So I don't know who wants to take that one. Dr. Williams, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to sit down and say, Dr. Yee, would you like to take a stab at that? Because that's a good question I had never heard before.
Yes, actually, yes, they will. They will be losing their spot. If they choose to go to the virtual academy, they will lose their spot at the choice schools.
Got it.
Yeah, enrolling in the virtual academy is like enrolling in a whole other school. And I do want to say that the virtual academy is a fully accredited school. It is, the only difference is you're doing it online, but it is a real school. So and it is a different entity from the other schools in our district. Okay, we have Rawan Gamal. How would gym class be run in a school like University Preparatory? Would our students do it as normal?
My understanding at this particular point in time would be it would be ran just as normal. Students should not have a problem with attending their classes. And so just like normal gym class, no problem whatsoever.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Rubicaba, would you like to add something to that one?
Sure. So you're absolutely right, Dr. Williams. We're going to run it as normal. The caveat is this. So outdoors, students don't have to wear a mask. No one has to wear a mask regardless of vaccination status. But when they're indoors, say in a gym, in a weight room, students would have to mask. So that's the only caveat. However, our intention is to run it as normal.
Okay, thank you so much. And also, we'll go ahead and take this question in the chat, and then I have another email question that I'll get to after that. So this is Kimberly Gray Cupid. Will the district be offering COVID vaccination clinics for students, and will parents have to give consent for vaccination? Well, yes and yes. I mean, I don't know if we're doing clinics in the future. We did do one in the spring and early summer that Dr. Rubicaba helped set up. And of course, absolutely, if you have a minor child, you have to give them consent. And I don't know if any of you would like to elaborate on that. I don't know if we're going to be able to offer any more clinics in the future. Who wants to take that?
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Rubicaba.
Yes, Chris. So the short answer is yes. We actually held 6 of our own vaccination clinics, 2 at Adelanto, 2 at Victor High School, and 2 at Lakeview Leadership Academy. And the Department of Public Health was so pleased, with the partnership that they have requested that we offer more vaccination clinics in the future. And the nice thing about that is that it's in a very familiar location for our students and families, very convenient location, and the Pfizer vaccine is available for our students who are 12 and up. So we will be offering vaccination clinics in the future.
Okay, let me go ahead and address this email question. This is Tamika Ponce. Hi, Tamika. Thank you for joining us. She's a parent over at Lakeview, who I've met before. Very nice lady. So she is asking us, I would like to know, since school will open at full capacity, what will be the measures to take? What will be the measures taken to keep students safe during lunchtime? Lunch is the main time that students will not be wearing their masks. I'm not sure how you can have hundreds of students all eating lunch at the same time and maintain distance. Just because you're outside, there still needs to be some distance when masks are off. When someone smokes, you can still smell it from a distance, okay? You don't have to be right next to them. I've asked this question before during previous town halls. It's never really been answered. Well, I'm sorry, I don't remember that. But I'm just wondering, because it's real now, and we will be back at full capacity and a full day. Thanks again, Tamika Ponce. Okay, who would like
Well, let me just start off by saying that, yes, when students are outside of classrooms, the mask will not be required. And just to say that for this particular point in time. Dr. Rubacaba, would you like to add anything to that?
Sure. So that is correct. Masks are not required to be worn outdoors. However, that doesn't inhibit somebody's ability to wear the mask. So I think it's a matter of educating our students to make responsible choices aligned to the values of the family. So I have two sons, and they participate in activities in the communities. In fact, my family is going to participate National Night Out today in a few minutes, and they will be face covering, but they will be participating even though it's outdoors. So it's a matter of choice and educating for each one to do what's best for them. On top of that, most of our schools have areas where students can eat indoors, outdoors, and there are options for them. So we want to make sure that everybody is educated on how to stay safe, making sure that they're practicing good hygiene, washing their hands frequently, face covering, and the such. And the last thing I want to emphasize is we're responsible for ourselves, but also for each other. So if somebody is not feeling well or has symptoms, we need everyone to stay home if they're ill. We don't want anyone coming to school or to work if they are not feeling well and getting other people sick. So I just want to emphasize that we're responsible for ourselves and for each other.
Okay, thank you, Dr. R. And there was another question that Richard popped up for us there asking about lunch, and I believe it was a student asking, are we going to have lunch like it was before, or are we going to be separated?
Well, my understanding at this particular time is that we will have lunch as normal. Dr. Rubacaba, would there be anything that you would like to add to that?
Yeah, so lunch will be normal, and so will passing period. If students are changing in between classes at the secondary level, it's very different than at the elementary level. Our students are a little bit older, and our expectation is that they will make good choices. They will be safe, they will be respectful, they will be responsible, and it takes a village to educate our students. So we hope that at the home, parents and guardians and caretakers encourage that. Our classified employees, our certificated employees, all of us together, our management, we have to remind each other and hold each other accountable because we are responsible for ourselves, but for each other.
Okay, thank you so much. And not seeing any other email stuff. Let's go back to the chat. Liam Gaming, we've seen Liam before in some of our town halls. Thank you for joining us again. Are students able to sit next to each other on the bus, and will social distance on the bus be required?
Okay, I'll pass that one to Dr. Rubacaba.
So social distancing is no longer required. On any school bus, every student and staff member must face cover while inside one of our buses, but there is no longer a social distancing requirement. However, that doesn't mean that we're not going to encourage, depending on the route size, for students to sit in alternate seats if it permits. However, if it's not feasible, it is permissible for students to sit next to each other as long as they're face covering. And that is a requirement. That is not optional. Everyone must face cover on a school bus. And the same thing holds true in the classroom. To the extent possible, we will social distance in the classroom. Everyone must face cover. But if you have a classroom of 36 students and social distancing is not feasible, it is permissible for students to be next to each other.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, does the Assembly Bill 104 also for kids who have passed all their classes, but their parents just want their kids to redo a grade level. And just to give some context to this, this is in reference to Assembly Bill 104, which is something that Governor Newsom signed into law at the beginning of this month. Well, the beginning of July, I should say. And we put out some information to our parents about this on Monday. And basically, it provides some opportunities to either have a letter grade changed to a pass or no pass, as well as some opportunities to go back a grade level, potentially, or redo a grade level. And this particular question is, if they passed all their classes and their parents want them to redo the grade level, can they do that? So take it away. Dr. Williams, or do we want to hand this to Dr. Yee, or?
Let's hand this one to does the Assembly Bill 104 for kids who passed all their classes, but their parents would just want them to redo a grade level. That's a very interesting question. I had never looked at it that way, and maybe if that person can send us an additional questions that I can probably tag into to figure out more, I can. But Dr. Rubacaba, Dr. Hawkins, Dr. Yee, either one?
I think Dr. Yee may want to weigh in on this as it's an ed services piece.
Sure, thank you. Yes, the Assembly Bill, again, allows students to be able to, if they have, to be able to have a no pass or pass grade. And I think we posted that online this week, and it is a 15-day period. However, if the parent just wants the student to just redo the grade, if you take the same class, it's going to really just show up that, you'll still have that grade. Let's say the student's getting a C, they redo the class and they get a B. It doesn't change that C grade. The only time that it'll change a grade is if it's it'll reflect that even if it's a failing grade, they take it again, they get an A or they get a better grade. It'll still show on their transcript. So it won't necessarily replace the grade, but it'll just show that they've improved it when they took it again.
Okay. And then Dr. Yee, as far as them just redoing that whole school year, I could be mistaken because I don't know every little part of the bill, but it was my understanding there is a provision in there where they can repeat the grade level, right? But I just don't know what the requirements of that are. I think their case kind of has to be examined, right? And then it can be determined whether or not they can do that, right?
Absolutely. The Assembly Bill does state that there is an opportunity for certain selected grade level students to be able to be retained. And we do have a process in place. We have the information on our website if you want to check it out. And then we would go ahead and just take it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Yee. And as I told you at the top there, Dr. Rubalcaba did have to get to an event, the National Night Out event tonight, which I guess he participates in every year in his community. So we'd like to thank him for joining us and providing us with his expertise on a lot of these topics. So, Richard, if we have any other stuff we want to get to. Okay, Hazel Chavez, is Virtual Academy available for seniors? My student needs 3 more classes to graduate. How would the Virtual Academy work for students that just need specific courses? Thanks.
Well, I'll start off and I'll pass it to Dr. Yee. The Virtual Academy, is the Virtual Academy just available for seniors? Yes, and I don't know exactly which student this student is attending at this particular point in time. My student needs 3 more classes to graduate. How will the Virtual Academy work for students just needs specific courses? Thanks. If you would like your child to attend the Victor Valley Virtual Academy, they can attend that. They can take the 3 classes that they would like to, and it shouldn't be any problem. Dr. Yee, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, the Virtual Academy is actually going to set up just like a regular school. Students will have periods 1 through period 6. We will need to work with your student to determine whether or not they might need a 4th period class. But again, those are things that we can work with you on. And yes, it absolutely is available to seniors.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and I'm just looking at any other questions we got email-wise here. And Richard, I don't know if there's any others in the chat you wanted us to take a look at. Okay, Vilia Gomez, how much kids will be required in each class? So this question is about class size. And what will the class size look like? Dr. Williams.
Well, at this particular time, we're going with our our contracted services that we have with classes. I think Anita is at 32 or 34.
Anita, you're muted. Go ahead.
It depends on whether or not it's junior high, high school, or school of choice. But it's, I think it's 204 students total for school of choice. But it's the regular amount of students in a classroom. Of course, your teachers are going to try and space them out as much as possible, as well as follow all safety protocols. With hand washing, we have wipes. We're going to do everything we can to keep the kids safe on our end.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Anita. Okay. And Dr. Yee had to switch computers because her computer was dying, but we have a seamless transition. She's right back with us again. Thank you. Okay, Jory Edens, I hope I pronounced that right. Will the students have opportunities to go on field trips?
Yeah, at this particular time, school will be just as close to normal as possible. Students will go on field trips. We'll have professional development for staff members, etc. Think of school just like it was a year and a half ago. No difference whatsoever.
Thank you so much. Okay, and I'm going to check the email one more time. Richard, anything else in the comments? Okay, will classrooms be sanitized before and during periods? Dr. Williams?
Well, they will be sanitized before and at the end of the class period. I'm not sure. I can't speak firsthand for during the class period, but I know that they will be sanitized before and at the conclusion of the period.
All right. And then speaking of custodial services and all of that type of thing, that's under the umbrella of Dr. Hawkins. I don't know if you'd like to say anything about that, Dr. Hawkins?
I'll just reiterate what Dr. Williams has said, and we also have made available to our staff and to the students sanitation wipes where desks can be wiped down and so forth. And it's very, very important for our community to understand and to know that safety of our students is a number one priority. Additionally, our maintenance staff will work very hard to make sure that areas are cleaned in a robust manner in line with federal and state guidelines as related to the California Department of Health Services and so forth. And I want to just give this caveat because I know that we have a lot of Spanish speaking parents on the call who this is a question that resonates for them. And because of this, I just want to articulate to them very quickly, la seguridad de nuestros estudiantes es nuestra prioridad número uno. Nuestro personal de mantenimiento trabajará arduamente para asegurarse de que se limpien todas las áreas. So, pardon por mi lengua de portuguesa. So the parents understand what I just said, and that's that, yes, we will be cleaning in a robust way.
Okay, well, muchas gracias, Dr. Hawkins. That was great. It's much better than I could have done. So thank you very much. And so we have Yolanda Manriquez. Will the district provide the proper ventilation system for all schools? This might be Dr. Hawkins again, but Dr. Williams, I'll kick it to you
Yes,
first.
go ahead, Dr. Hawkins.
Okay, yes, we're looking at ensuring that there's proper ventilation systems for all of our schools. What I've done prior to the start of school is I've had meetings with our Director of Maintenance and Operations, Mr. Jurgensen is his name, and we've looked at all of our air conditioning HVAC system units to make sure that the refresh rate that deals with bringing in fresh air and the pushing out of stagnant air in our systems is just as tight and in line with walking into a classroom with fresh air just outside. So we're making sure that we have the proper refresh rate so that when students are coming into our facilities and of course for our staff, both certificated and classified, our teachers that are there every day, boots on the ground dealing with our students, that they do have air that is recycled on a regular basis.
Okay, thanks a lot. And as I'm checking the email, it looks like we've got more stuff coming in the chat. This is Latoya V. Franco. If cases rise more, will school be put back to via Zoom learning and will be notified if someone in the school or classroom becomes positive with COVID. Well, the first part of this we already addressed. And, first of all, this is not really our call. A lot of this stuff comes from the State Department of Public Health, as it did when we first had to shut down back in March of, it's so long ago now, back in March of 2020. And I think we addressed that a little bit at the top, that yes, if conditions necessitate another closure, that's what we'll do if we have to do it. The second part of this, will we be notified if someone in the school or classroom becomes positive with COVID? Dr. Williams, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, you will be. With contact tracing, we will notify those individuals that are, if they're within that person's social distance space for at least 15 minutes, we will be notifying all of the parties that will meet that criteria. And so I can sit down and say that, yes, most likely you will be notified.
Okay.
I don't know if Dr. Hawkins or Dr. Rubicop, Dr. Yee would like to add anything to that.
Just to reiterate what you're saying, Dr. Williams, yes, we'll follow all the necessary, as you've already said, basically safety guidelines. They're very clear regarding notification of parents if someone is COVID-19 positive, and we'll make sure that we're on top of that.
Okay, and I did get an email question a few moments ago. Is it all 5 days, or will we have some days on school and some online? Well, we did kind of address this, that basically we're going back to school exactly the same way that you were in school previous to March of 2020. And I don't know if any of you would like to elaborate on that anymore, or anything that might be different, but it's my understanding that in terms of the schedule, it's going to be exactly the same.
Yes, and I think that also understanding that on Wednesday, I think that we still have our collaboration days, Anita.
Yes, we have the collaboration days, which will be alternating between the district and site and the teachers. Also know that we've learned a lot through this pandemic, and we're probably going to have a lot of things online. We're going to take the very best that we've done from the pandemic. So the students will still be able to utilize the Google Classroom and a lot of the platforms. So we're going to take the very best, but then it's going to be so great to have our kids back in the classroom where we can work with them in person as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and speaking of that, speaking of taking some of the best things that we learned from the pandemic, I mean, one of the things is what we're doing right now. We're connecting with, almost 200 of you right now directly, which, frankly, is much more than we typically would do at an in-person meeting. So, we're really happy to connect with everyone tonight. And Dr. Yee, I don't know, because that was a curriculum and instruction piece, I don't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that.
Just to reiterate that we are absolutely going back as, pre-pandemic. The schedule will stay the same as before. Just wanted to let our parents know also too that we absolutely care about your children. It is not only just their learning, but also their social emotional well-being that's important to us. Our teachers, we've reiterated, and they've been so supportive and understand that when our kids come back to us, that there's going to be some things that are very different, and we really have to focus on their well-being. So there are going to be some activities that our teachers are doing to really connect with our kids, learn their stories, and really be there to support them, because we understand too that even, as adults, we've gone through some things ourselves, but we know that our kids have as well too. And we just want to be very cognizant of that, and we're here to support them. So I just wanted our parents to really know that that's going to be a focus for us.
Okay, thanks a lot. And looking again at the email here, I'm not seeing anything new in the email. Richard, do we have anything in the chat we haven't gotten to? Okay, we have Andrea. When will students be getting their schedules for their classes? This is maybe more of a school site question, but take it away.
Well, I'll pass it over to Dr. Yee, because I'm not sure when those are coming out.
Well, all different sites have their own different protocols and procedures. So for that parent who asked that question, please connect with your school site. They will absolutely have the answer for you.
Yeah, and so you do want to reach out to the principal of the respective school, and they should already actually kind of be reaching out to you, but do go ahead and visit the website. Our schools also have a Facebook presence, and some of them an Instagram presence or a Twitter presence, but at the very least, there's a Facebook presence. So those of you who are on Facebook can see some things there and get some information there. So please do that. But also, this email address on the bottom of the screen here, if you want to email me, kreilly@vvuhsd.com, I can shuffle that email to the correct person. So just please go ahead and email me if you have a school site question. UP received their schedules yesterday, says Csca Villegas. So thank you, Cece or Ceci. And I think a lot of them should be receiving schedules this week, right? So, okay, Pokemon Blast 619. Is it true that in the email I read it said students don't have to make all of the grade requirements to graduate or something like that? I'm a little confused on it. I wonder if y'all can elaborate on it. So this is an AB 104 question. So Dr. Williams, I don't know if we want Dr. You talk about it.
Oh, thank you so very much for the question. And I'm going to try to read to what I think that you're saying. You're saying they don't make all of the requirements to graduate. Graduation will basically be the same. We don't anticipate any change in that regard. So if you're looking to graduate, but there are some changes that we do have in graduation. So I'm not sure exactly what aspects you might be addressing. Dr. Yee, would you like to address that?
If I'm correct and understand the question, I think this does relate to Assembly Bill 104, which does allow students, last year's juniors and last year's seniors. So that means this year's senior, and then also, the seniors have graduated, to be able to only meet the state requirement of 130 for their graduation. So when you got that notification in the mail or on the website, and if you do qualify because of the pandemic and you are a senior and you do qualify to be under the state requirement versus the district's requirement for graduation, that is on a case-by-case basis, and we would work with you on it. So if you have any questions with regards to that, go ahead and just either connect with Mr. Riley, who's going to give me the information, and I can go ahead and give you a call, or you can touch base with also your school site, and they'll direct you to the right person.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay, Hazel Chavez again. My senior attends Sims. Will he still be able to participate in senior Sims activities if he enrolls in Virtual Academy? I'm afraid that answer might be no, but I'm going to hand it to the experts.
Well, I'm going to step out on a limb and say yes, that you're correct. They will not be, if they're attending the Victor Valley Virtual Academy, they would not be able to participate in the Sims activities if the student attends Victor Valley. And I'll defer to Dr. Yee for the specifics.
Dr. Williams, you are correct. Once a student switches over to the Virtual Academy, the Virtual Academy is its own school. So therefore, they will not belong to Sims or whichever former school that they came from. So they will not be able to attend Sims events.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, and Richard is telling me we do not have any more questions at this time. Oh, we do have Tracy Jensen. Tracy, thank you to everyone at UP and VVUHSD for everything you've done and continue to do for our staff and students. Well, you're welcome, and thank you for that great comment. And, and also there was someone who came in here who said, what does the Victor Valley Virtual Academy look like? Well, it's virtual. So it's on your computer. So it is kind of a, I guess for lack of a better term, it is kind of a work in progress, I guess you might say, because it is brand new. And here's another question regarding that. What is the Victor Valley Virtual Academy? Does it have Zoom classes? Will there be teachers from Victor? So this is probably a curriculum instruction thing, but Dr. Williams, I'm going to hand this to you to start.
Okay, and I'll pass it over to Dr. Yee.
All right, I'm happy to respond. I'm going to do my best because I just started 3 weeks ago. But yes, the virtual academy is just that. It's really just live instruction with a teacher, just over Zoom. Students will have a regular schedule as if they're going periods 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but they're just doing it online. So there will be a teacher, a live teacher in front of them teaching them. And like Mr. Riley said, it is a work in progress. We've never done this before. So we want to thank you in advance for your grace, for your understanding. We want to make sure that we just give our students every opportunity to succeed and learn in whatever format works best for them and for you as parents as well too. So we're learning together. But again, the virtual academy is just that. They are attending school with teachers, just virtually.
Right. And so Dr. Yee mentioned this. She is new with us these past few weeks. She was with us about 5 or 6 years ago, and now she's come back. So she's not new to the area or new to education. And we were talking about this actually in a meeting the other day. The Virtual Academy was started last year under our previous Assistant Sup of Ed Services, and it has been kind of evolving. But the idea behind it is just as Dr. Yee said, that it's a school, but you're doing it online. So it's not independent study per se. There's a whole different program that is independent study, and that's Goodwill Independent Study. But Virtual Academy is like you're going to school, you're just doing it on your computer. And Dr. Yee, I know that you just came from a district, Riverside Unified, that has a very successful virtual academy with 4,000 or 5,000 students or something like that. And so you do have some experience of being around this type of virtual academy, correct?
Yes, and actually Riverside's actually going to be implementing it for this school year. I think everyone went through distance learning and so forth. But yes, Riverside, where I came from, currently, I checked last week, has 3,400 students who from TK-12 who will be attending school virtually for this new school year.
Wow. Okay, great. So, and Richard, I don't know if anyone else popped in while we were talking here. Okay, we just had a couple of nice comments for Dr. Yee there. And then we had, we did have a student who was saying hi, and I wanted to just say hi to them as well. What was this person's name? Micah. This was way back in the chat. I just think it's always nice when we actually get kids in here asking questions. So thank you very much for all of the kids who asked questions and who are involved in their own education. We really appreciate that. So and this person was from Lakeview, and there's so many questions in here now. I've just lost it. But thank you, Lakeview student, for joining us, and thank you to all of these other kids who came in here and asked questions, as well as all the parents, of course. So and then will the classes be an hour long? Oh, there it is. Richard found it for me. Makai, I attend Lakeview Leadership Academy. Well, thank you, Makai, and have a great school year, please. And we hope that it's a real school year, and that we are allowed to continue to have the kids in class, and of course be as safe as possible. We understand all these concerns about safety because we're parents ourselves, but we're really happy to have you back. So are the classes an hour long? I don't know what the schedule is going to look like. Dr. Williams, Dr. Yee.
Yeah, the periods are not really an hour long. They're a little bit less than an hour, maybe about 50-something minutes for our schools that have 7 periods, and a little bit longer for our classes that are 6-period classes. School starts about 7 o'clock, 7 or 8 o'clock, and about 1 to 2 something classes are finished up. And I don't know if Dr. Hawkins or Dr. Yee, either one of you want to add to that?
No, Dr. Williams.
No, you're good. Thank you.
We have great students. They are involved and concerned about their education. That is right. Luana Navarro is a former employee of our district because I think she just retired. So I hope you're enjoying your retirement, Ms. Navarro. Okay, so I don't see any more. And I don't see any email. How many kids will be allowed in the restroom at one time?
Well, students will be wearing masks once they leave the classroom. And so we do not have a specific number in mind. Obviously, we're going to try to keep it limited, but we'll be working out the details on that in the next couple of days. But I don't anticipate any major restrictions going into the restrooms at this time.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Rich and I clicked on the same thing at the same time. Arnold Rocha, I know that guy. I'd like to give a shout out to all of our classified for helping with getting schools ready. Well, thank you, Arnold. And yes, thank you to all of our employees, teachers, bus drivers, custodians, maintenance and grounds. I'm forgetting people, food service, just all of these people, IT, instructional assistants, all of these people that make this happen, and administrators, of course. I don't want to forget them because they work very hard. So thank you to everyone. And then I guess there's a couple more coming in. What would you say to students who have anxiety about going back to school, Dr. Williams?
Well, that's a very good question there. We all have some anxieties, and it's going to be a challenge for all of us going back to, although we're going back to school, we're trying to keep our heads up and try to be as positive as we possibly can. And we would appreciate the patience with our students and our staff being just as positive as they go back as well. Now, I don't know about Dr. G and Dr. Hawkins and Mrs. Tucker and Mrs. Martin. You guys can.
I think, Anita, I think this is what would you say as a teacher if you had a student who may have experienced some anxieties about going back? How would you respond to that, Anita?
I know that our students probably all are going to feel a little bit anxious. We're all going to feel a little bit, nervous about coming back. It's been different. Some of our kids have not ever set foot on our campuses. So it is going to be like a really big first day of school. But remember, we're all here to help you. Every single person that you're going to run into, whether it's your teacher, your counselor, your bus driver, the ladies or gentlemen giving you lunch, custodians, everyone's going to be out there helping you and supporting you and making sure that we do everything possible to keep you safe, make you feel comfortable. If you need to talk to someone, we're going to make sure that there's someone available that you can talk with, so that you can feel a little bit more comfortable. And after that first day, you kind of maybe will relax and get more into it, get to know your teachers, get to know your friends, and kind of start the process. Of course, we're going to keep you safe, make sure that you're wearing the mask, doing everything possible, washing hands, sanitizing, everything that we can. We want you safe. Most important priority is safety, and then we want you to be well, and then we're going to educate you. So we're excited.
Okay, thank you so much. And as far as the email questions here, I did get just another one here. Will there be a school nurse on campus at Silverado High School? Can I drop off lunch for my kids at Silverado High School? Will kids need a weekly COVID test?
Well, you said about 3 questions, so let's take one of them at a time. Okay, go ahead. You said you gave us about 3 questions there, but why don't you give us?
I'm sorry about that. I was just talking to Richard there behind the scenes for a minute there. So yeah, 3 rapid fire questions here. Will there be a school nurse on campus at Silverado High School? Can I drop off? So yeah, let's do that one first.
Okay. Will there be a school? We're in the process of trying to hire nurses at this particular time that we can have at each one of our sites. Our plan, the person may not be there the very first day, but they should be there shortly afterwards. Dr. Yee, would you like to address that?
If I'm correct, there's also health assistants, if I'm correct, at the school sites to also support students. We are looking for, RNs and so forth, but I believe that we already have health clinicians or health technicians at the school site.
Okay, thank you so much. Can I drop off lunch for my kids at Silverado High School?
Yes, you can. I don't foresee any problem with it, but first of all, I would just check with the principals, Mrs. Heather Kunkel, and get her permission to do it.
Okay. And will kids need a weekly COVID test?
We've been testing at this particular point in time. I would have to defer to Dr. Rubacaba or Dr. Hawkins or Dr. Yee at this particular point in time because I'm not totally familiar, but I know that we've had testing Tuesdays.
We have a voluntary testing, but there's no mandates at this time for testing for students as a state mandate. So that's not in effect at this time, but we will be monitoring any additional information from either the state level or the federal level regarding any type of mandated testing. But at this time, there's no mandated testing.
Okay, and there was a question here that I can probably clear up a little bit here. Is it true that there's a new law where middle schools can't start before 8 and high schools can't start before 8:30? Yes. However, that law does not actually go into effect, or we are not required to observe that law at this particular time. So your schedule will remain the same as it was before, but I'll go ahead and hand that over to the panel if you'd like to elaborate on that.
Okay, Dr. Hawkins.
So, Mr. Riley, you are correct in your answer. There is a new law that was basically passed. However, it's not implemented at this time. The anticipated implementation date is July 1, 2022. However, there has been some movement in the legislature, and we're waiting to see if there will be movement that negates what has already been established. We will keep our community aware of any time changes as it comes to start times and so forth in the implementation of the law. We've also looked at a strategic plan to ensure that we have enough staffing, i.e. buses and so forth, transportation staff, because we have such a robust transportation program to meet the needs of our students getting to school if we have to begin to make significant changes. But as of this year, it's status quo. All the times are still the same and they have not changed.
Okay, thank you so much. Somehow we've lost Dr. Williams. I don't know if we have a connectivity issue there or what. What school supplies do we need? Well, do we still wear uniforms? I don't know what school you're talking about, but if you, whatever you needed before, you need now, is all I can say. So I don't know what school that is, but if you want to tell us, maybe we can elaborate a little bit more. Are you putting in place the class called race theory? In short, no. But as this is curriculum instruction, Dr. Yee, would you like to talk about that?
Yes, that's been kind of a hot topic, critical race theory, and no, there is no critical race theory class. We just, I sometimes, the things that are going on in the world, and sometimes it gets into our education. We are absolutely here to support our students. We offer a curriculum that provides sometimes different perspectives, especially in history classes and so forth, or in AVIC classes, where students are asked to critically think and maybe take a stance and so forth and provide evidence for that. But we are not offering a class called critical race theory.
Yeah, and I can say more broadly that, obviously we are very concerned with being equitable and offering, equity to all of our students and to teaching history and I'm not an expert on curriculum and instruction, but I can say that when you hear about this critical race theory out there in the media, and that is something I'm kind of an expert on, that is not, it's kind of noise, so to speak. There's a lot of noise out there, but we continue to do what we do as educators, and that's not changing. So I don't know what has happened to Dr. Williams. Oh, there he is. Okay. He's back. Okay. Dr. Williams, you're just in time to send us out, and go ahead.
Well, I'd like to thank the parents and community for participating this afternoon. It's been a great opportunity. And I know that Tanya Martin didn't get a chance to say that much, so I want to set aside this time to let her say a few words if she would like to.
I would just like to say that Classified is usually the first people you see, the first ones that touch you, the bus drivers, food services, feeding your students breakfast, IT people that are helping you on your computers, and we're ready to welcome you back. I do feel that we can come back in a safe manner, and just one day at a time. Just know that staff as well as students, we're all a little apprehensive, but we take it one step at a time and do whatever we can to make it as safe as possible.
Okay, thank you so very much. And I'd like to turn it over to Anita. Let her say a few words as well.
Again, your certificated staff is here, your counselors, librarian, teachers. We're waiting for you to come back. We got your classroom ready, your seat ready, and we're gonna have an amazing time this year. So we're ready to welcome you back.
Thank you. And Dr. Yee?
Just to reiterate what Tanya and Anita said, we are just so excited to be able to see you in person and be there to support you in whatever it is that you need. Again, from Ed Services, it's always about your learning and it's always about your well-being. So just do a fabulous year and let us know how we can help you. So thank you, everyone.
And Dr. Hawkins.
Sorry, I had to unmute there. You know, same thing. We're so excited to have your children back. We know that it's been a very, very long time during this COVID pandemic that children have been out of school. We know that many children are ready to come back. And I also want you to know that based on the guidance from our board and our superintendent, that we're very, very serious about their mental health. We're very serious about safety, and we're looking forward to a phenomenal school year.
You know, I was just looking at a few questions that was flying over in the comment section. You know, sports will be just as normal. I know that some people are asking questions that didn't get a chance to log in earlier when we talked about them. But sports are traditional, no problem with it. But we want to thank you as parents, probably more than anything. We know that this is a challenge for you, but we're here. We're working with you, as Anita stated, as well as Tanya. You know, we're going to work on this together. We're going to make this happen. And I see questions still coming in. When will the information be given to in Spanish? We will. We will try to get that information out to you as quickly as we possibly can. But we're working with you, and like I said earlier, you know, just be as patient as you possibly can. Work with us, and we will work out whatever challenges that we have.
And I do want to say just one thing about Espanol is that we actually did do one of these in Spanish, and unfortunately we just did not have the turnout that we had for this one. But you know, those 25 people were very happy to get that information in their native language, and we were very happy to do that for them. So Ms. Hernandez, if you have other friends who are Spanish speaking, please let them know, and I will be in touch with you. I'm going to directly send you the link the next time we do one of these things in Spanish. So we will definitely do that in the future. So Dr. Williams, I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, and you know, we want to thank all of the parents as well as all of the individuals that's participated. Please share it. Next Monday will be our first day back, and we would like to have all of our students back at that particular point in time. I know that the elementary school is going to be starting about a couple of weeks later, and so we kind of anticipate a little bit of a delay, but we want to welcome all of you back. It's been a long, you know, about 18 to 20 months, depending on how you count the months. We want to thank all of you for attending, and we really appreciate it. And, you know, and so I'm sure that next week we'll probably be doing another one of these. And so we look forward to seeing you at that time. So with that in mind, enjoy, be safe, and we will see you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.